Hey, Miss Peaches.
Hi.
One moment, I gotta go close the door real quick.
Alright.
Okay, it's closed.
Oh, good.
Well, that site that I made, it got shut down, but I got it back today. it
Oh,
doesn't
good.
it doesn't accept videos, but I'm hoping I'll be able to put some videos up there. I don't know. I really need people to get rid of their own assumptions and stop being assholes about things I can't change. I can't change autism. I can't change Tourette syndrome. When when you gave me that ride to go see Natalie and it ended up being the protection order, the police refused to take a report from me. They refused to report about any of the assaults against me in Boulder. That was Officer Michael West. And then on the 26th, when I left to go to your place, I really just needed to find my voice. I needed to find somebody who could help me fight these people, you know? I mean, I don't have money, I don't have a family, I don't have any of that. What Ken and Leah did to me was just steal all my stuff. And then when you went to court with me and they took your picture, like, that was the most fucked up thing they could have done. I needed one person to stick with me and find out everything that was going on, but people just didn't have time. Or they'd say they had time and then they get stuck on their phones or they get stuck taking care of their kids. And, you know, I don't hate them for that, but that's the thing about not having a family.
Do you have a family?
I need you guys to fight for me like family then. I wanted to die every day since I left Virginia because people kept on acting like A-Bear. I can't handle him. I can't. He's fucking heartless. He says he cares, but then he doesn't care to listen, which shows he doesn't actually care. And you know, that's the kind of caring that Natalie had herself killed over. When you were gonna go down there with me in August to make them cops take a report, and you couldn't go in because your son was with you, like that, I knew something was up before I got there. I needed a witness, just like I did at the court case at the place on the 29th in Broomfield, in 29th of December, I guess. I'm trying to remember all the dates of all this crap because, you know, they don't care what happened. They care about the date and who it was. That's why the officers in Boulder were so adamant about preventing me from getting their numbers, preventing me from getting their names. Like, that's the point, is that they got to do whatever they wanted to me repeatedly, and I couldn't do anything about it. Now, I did notice when Molly Smith, she's one of the ladies in chapel, when she went in with me to go make the police take a report, they at least pretended to. And when my grandma's funeral happened, like, they didn't take a report then, but that officer at least pretended to. In both of those
Here,
cases.
hold on real quick.
Alright.
Okay. I'm back. Can you hear me?
Do what?
I'm back.
Miss Peaches, I need somebody who can organize and work together with people. Try to get all these folks to actually come forward and write letters to everyone they can. I mean, even if it's just one general letter that everybody writes individually, and then just collect everybody's letters and make copies to ship out everywhere. I mean, what these people did to me, I need help to get it to stop. I mean, for me, seeing all of Natalie's predators getting free money for the things that they did to her and the things they did to me, and then they're taking all of my money. All of my money goes to being victimized. I seriously need somebody to show up in court, not just be there in person, but to show up and make them listen. Somebody to go file reports against these officers. Somebody to. I needed to be protected from the police. Is what I needed. I needed.
They're called lawyers.
Do what?
They're called lawyers.
Yeah, telling me they're called lawyers doesn't get me a lawyer. I only had the money for public pretenders. I didn't have access to any civil lawyers. I didn't have any access to contact them while I was locked up. And when I got out, I didn't have the ability to actually send them stuff because I don't know how to use computers. Nobody would show me. I mean, I got lucky when I was in Montana. Amanda Engeline taught me how to make a YouTube account. Or how to make one and be able to, post videos and stuff. I'd had a YouTube for a while before that. I just didn't know how to set it all up so I could make videos.
Well, what you're describing sounds a lot like a lawyer. Like, I can't do reports and make people do stuff, and I don't have that kind of authority.
You're not understanding people power, alright? The reason that all of these people got away with doing the things that they did is because there's a lot of them. That's the thing. I mean, a lawyer isn't going to do me any good without your words. Without Chelsea's words, without all these people who are actually involved coming forward and making a statement, actually writing out a full statement, actually showing up in court. If they're not willing to do anything, then that basically tells me I should have blown my head off years ago. I don't know how to explain.
I think we do come together, and we do try for anything. You're still going to want to blow your brains out. That doesn't seem to me like it's anything that anyone can change.
Ma'am, if I hadn't been victimized for the last 2 years, I wouldn't want to blow my brains out. The last 2 years of my life have been hell. I needed actual help, and nobody would give me actual help. They just gave me pretty words, and that's the point, is that I need people to stop making excuses. If they're going to tell me they love me, it's time to show it. I mean, the things that I've gone through, somebody needs to actually write a statement that we can force the news to take, to force the courts to take. But without those statements, it doesn't do any good. I mean, I got a list of 300 names of witnesses that I've had to deal with since Natalie died. A lot of those people I'm not able to reach, and a lot of them, I mean, they make excuses, And I'm not trying to be assholes to any of them, but the fact is, they're being assholes to me with their excuses. Veronica Randall, the way that she tore me down, she had no right to do that. She's actually the person that made it so that I'm afraid to text people. She's the reason that I was gonna kill myself on Vicodin. It wasn't the fact that, well, the police fucking with me all the damn time sucked. And losing my shop, screwing up my back, that all sucked. I needed help, and the only person that was willing to help was Veronica. But then she wasn't willing to help. She texted me for like 2 weeks, just straight up mean texting, no matter what I typed. And I'm like, just stop typing at me and listen to what I have to say. But she's bad about that. Everybody agrees with that about Veronica. But that's the thing, is that Miss Jerry, I need her to come forward. I need Lana to come forward. I need Amanda to come forward. The problem is with those people that they're not honest people. And then there's Laura Nelson. She's pretty honest, but she's also scared. That's the main thing that I was doing with my life, is trying to show people that we can do it a different way, but everybody's out for themselves. And then everybody ends up with nothing, and then they complain that they have nothing and their lives suck when they could have worked together when it made a difference. But they do, you know? They just work together on a small level. That's why the Mexicans do so well here. They work together as a whole family. Here we got one or two parents working together at a time, and occasionally their mom or dad are able to send them some cash so they can take care of their kids. But I mean, really, people just keep on making excuses. You know, I can't because, I can't because. On the 28th, before we went down to talk to those cops, like, the biggest thing for me trying to explain to you that I needed to talk to you one-on-one, and then Gibo came out, like, that made it 100 times worse. And trying to explain that to you guys got frustrated at me and started snapping at me, and like, whenever people do that to me, it's ganging up on me is what it is, and it makes me want to die. It makes me feel like, why did I bother even trying to communicate? Why did I bother trying to explain what's going on? And then, like, for me, it's not the fact that it was you and Gibo. I mean, you guys actually did better than most. It's the fact that no matter where I go, I get ganged up on by people who have families. Their opinions are more important because they have two people to argue with. And it was something that at that point I really needed you to understand what was going on. You know, the 4 times that I'd gone there in 2017 to see you, alright, it was only 3 times because the first time was in 2016. It was because it was a major issue what was going on, and I really needed to talk to you. But then because of autism, I needed for it to be, quieted down. And then whenever it was quieted down, usually you and Raja were in the middle of your wind down time, which is, at the time, I think it was Diablo 3 or something, I don't know. So, like, I'm constantly, being patient because I have to be, because I have to have a particular environment when I'm stressed to communicate effectively, and we just never had it. Like that one time when you said that I'd been there for like 4 days. That whole 4 days, I was waiting for a time when you had time to actually listen to me, and that was after the whole A Bear waking up and being an asshole thing. So it didn't happen, and that's the issue. Wasn't that you're a bad person. The issue was that you don't understand autism. You understand a lot more now, but like at the time you didn't. And the main thing is, like, even if you take away autism, all the stuff that I've gone through is something that nobody should have to go through. And my reactions to it are the natural reactions to have to it. So then I feel like shit because, like, I don't want to tell people that what they're doing is fucking with my head and it's making me feel like shit. Because then they go off and they snap at me, and I can't handle that shit either. I needed help. I don't need people snapping at me and telling me what a fuck up I am, and I should have done this and I should have done that. Like, I'm busy trying to find solutions. And at the time I was busy trying to find Natalie, you know? Like, everybody focused on that protection order. I literally had not read that. The only person who had taken a look at it up till that point was your brother. I've been trying to get a lawyer since before Natalie died because of this situation and because of Ken and Leah. I already knew that when I left Virginia that I was going to lose everybody over what happened there. I already knew it. You know, I even made a post about it. I don't understand why the rapists got away with it, why the child molesters got away with it, and why I got punished for it. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know? And I'm too scatterbrained. That's the whole point of having an environment, a safe environment. If I had my own place, none of this would have happened. But I didn't have my own place. I had a choice between Ken and Leah's or the place in Nebraska, and the place in Nebraska would have been my own place, but I had to make a choice between having my own place where I don't really have any friends, or living in Ken and Leah's where I could be closer to my friends, and I chose to be closer to my friends because I need that for my mental health. Everybody needs love. But after I hurt my back, like, nobody cared. A-Bear was probably like, God, he's such an asshole. I still don't understand why he does that shit.
He's very self-righteous.
Yes, he is. And playing games with him isn't fun. That guy could destroy. If you brought A-Bear the most fun game on planet Earth, he would find a way to make it unfun for everyone else.
And that's where he gets his fun.
Yep. That's why I don't talk to him. He tells me he loves me, but then he doesn't talk to me. He just types mean shit at me. Or he tells me I need to do this and I need to do that. Like, dude, I'm fucking trying, but there's only one of me. When I left Virginia, I was overwhelmed. For somebody who's autistic, having a routine is important. Not being assaulted is important. I don't know if you could talk to Tabby and Graham and try to get some statements from them. Get them to, I mean, shit, you know, write down what's happened with me and what you know of me, and fucking spam the shit out of the news agencies. Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9. Spam the shit out of outside agencies. Spam the shit out of the FBI. Spam the shit out of everybody. It don't matter. Like, I keep getting shut out everywhere that I go. And the more people say something about it, the more people do something about it, the more likely it is to have an effect. But if it's just me, I'm screwed. These people got to destroy a lot of evidence, and they're not willing to look at the evidence, and they need to be pressured to actually, well, do their jobs. If I can't get that help, then yes, I am always going to want to kill myself until I kill myself. I want to die for a reason, because these things are actually happening to me. You were there for enough to know these things are actually happening to me. That's important. And the parts that you weren't there for, I know a lot of other witnesses who were there for it. Everything that Veronica Randall did to me that was mean, she did because she's a fucking bitch in texting, and she has no self-esteem, so no matter what you type, she takes it wrong. I'm not the only person who says this. That's the biggest issue, is that I know everybody's quirks. They won't admit them. Like with Veronica, she thinks that she's right. She's not willing to hear what I have to say, but that makes it so that she's right, and that's the problem with women in America. That's what we teach them. If they ignore the truth, they get to be right. So I need actual help to, number one, clear my name, and number two, make sure that these people are aware of what's going on. I mean, I need the cops to leave me alone. I need the courts to leave me alone. And yes, I understand I need a lawyer. I need help with that.
How can I help you? You told me to write out a statement. I have, for the most part, a final draft.
Very
I just
nice.
kind of
Go ahead.
been in the middle of a lot of different shit, and this is like my third or fourth draft that I made of it, and it still doesn't sound very well.
As long as it's honest. Most of the
As long as it's involved, and it's not geared specifically towards, well, it is in places geared specifically towards you and my experiences with you and my experiences with police with you, but it also has a lot to do with like my experiences with the police in general.
That's pretty important too. Anybody's statements like that you can get, that would be great. I mean, Cody.
Absolutely. And I'm trying to talk to Mobley about it. But he's kind of on a Jesus trip or some shit. He doesn't want to, he's not cooperative. And I'm trying to coax it out of him, and I'm not succeeding very well. And I'm pretty sure out of everyone's statements, his would be the most powerful because he's got evidence, like physical evidence of being mistreated, as well as, he's also a member of the homeless community. And I'm sorry to say it, but he's rather good looking, and that's going to help.
You're right about that.
He's pretty, and people like pretty. And they might not hear it coming from you, but coming from Mobley, they're going to be a little more inclined to listen.
Yeah, I noticed that. Natalie and Alicia got away with everything they did because they're pretty. I honestly, I don't think that Natalie would have done the things that she did, number one, if she wasn't on drugs, but number two, if I'd have been able to take screenshots and show her what people were doing, show her the threats people were sending me, I think she would have asked them to stop. Like, what she didn't understand is that shit started as I didn't even get out of Virginia. I was calling up Maddie to let her know what was going on, that Natalie was on heroin, and that I fucking had a panic attack while I was dehydrated, and the cops broke my vehicle, and I got a hold of her to let her know, and she's like, fuck you, dude. You're fucking creepy. What you did is creepy. Like, I'm sorry I got my car stuck in the road. That wasn't an intentional thing. I'm sorry that phone didn't work worth a shit. That wasn't an intentional thing either. But yeah, Mobley, it would be, see, that's the thing. I spent 4 hours with Mobley trying to get him to just talk to me about that. He had some ideas or something he wanted to throw at me, but then it was like he was on tweaker time. He kept forgetting what he was doing. He kept running around doing stuff. Don't get me wrong, he went to the store for some for 3 disabled veterans that are out there homeless as shit. And it's not that he was doing bad stuff, he seemed like he was on tweaker time.
Yeah, probably was. I don't know if he still is, but I don't think he is. But he seems, for the most part, pretty sound of mind, aside from, like, the religious brainwashing.
Yeah, well, I never knew him to do that stuff. And the last few times that I saw him, he was pretty pissed off at all the meth heads that were around there, and he was pissed off that the cops wouldn't do anything about the meth heads, and he was pissed off that the cops wouldn't do anything about the heroin heads.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think he's on meth. I think he's been through a lot, and everybody that, he was familiar with pretty much left.
Yeah. And that kind of happens, and it comes in droves. And there's a lot of people that have been part of the homeless community since I was part of the homeless community. We're still part of the homeless community. And there are some people who go to jail. There are some people who skip state and go other places. There are people who, just, the faces are constantly changing. And they're, like, constantly going around,
Yeah,
I don't know how exactly to describe it, but they come and they go.
The familiar faces, though, when you establish a connection and a relationship with somebody, like for me, the established connections and relationships I made in Boulder, that was, a lot of people that were gone, but they were long term. That's what was important about them. Roberta Richards at the Starbucks, like me and her every day for like 7 years, we were tight. The same thing with me and Mobley and me and Rabbit. I tried to be, he's my older brother, but he kept on asking for stupid stuff that anybody in their right mind would not ask for, knowing our parents. He already knows that Dad spends all of his money on whatever Dad spends it on, but it's all on him. And Mom spends her money on cocaine. Obviously, these people don't have the money to buy him a house. He was pissed off at me because he wanted me to call Mom and Dad and get them to buy him a $230,000 house in Boulder. I'm like, dude.
Be real here.
Yeah. Dude, if you asked Dad for $230, you'd be asking for about $230 more than he's willing to give you, and you already know it.
Let alone 230,000.
Right? Like, as soon as he got on meth, that was pretty much the end of it for me in Boulder. When Rabbit was just, I mean, even at my grandma's funeral, he was recovering from that shit. Me, I stayed away from it, but I get treated like I'm a meth head because I got Tourette's syndrome. So he gets to have all the fun and do all the drugs, and I get to be treated like the druggie. Same thing with Natalie, though. And I always got that about my brother. I have women all the time that come up and tell me that they're in love with Rabbit, like Misty and fucking Angie, and I get it. He's good looking, kind of like Mobley. Mobley's good looking, although Rabbit's got them snaggle teeth.
Even with the snuggle teeth, the women still fall all over him.
Yeah.
A point that I would like to make on that is that about a decade or so ago, you were very good looking as well. And it was very difficult to say anything about it to you because you had Early Duckling syndrome. And on top of that, you were very smart, which made you intimidating.
Yeah, nobody ever told me I was attractive in my lifetime. Every woman who's ever told me that I'm attractive did so because, because I was saying something about how women don't comment on my looks. They comment on good looking men all the time. I've heard many a women, tell a dude that he's attractive, and it's guys like Sean Jefferson or Mobley or Rabbit. They never tell me stuff like that. Not unless I'm feeling insecure over it, and, most of the time I don't say anything about it. Because I don't want to be pretty. I just want to be me. But at the same time, like, women treated me like the plague growing up. And also, like, for autism, you really have to tell me something. If I've been in the situation, then I can read it pretty good. But if I've never been in the situation, I'm not able to read it. And that's where a lot of stuff, like having a girlfriend, I'm almost 40 years old. I've never had a girlfriend, you know. If I had a girlfriend, I'd know what to do. You know, I'd feel out the situation and eventually get it. But if I never have a girlfriend, I'm never going to get it. Especially growing up in the system with the no contact rule. The reason I stayed away from women, you know, part of it is because I thought I was going to get in trouble for it. But the other part of it is that, like, I grew up in the system. Most of the girls that I grew up with, you know, they were raped. So for me, thinking about sex it's gross. I don't know how to explain that better. Most of the people I grew up with were cutters, like Natalie, whose dads couldn't keep their hands to themselves. But then, like, when I'm hanging out with Sean Jefferson, women will just walk across the road to tell him how outlandishly good looking he is. Same thing with Josh Martindale. Well, I'd like to send you some names of some people that if you get a hold of them, that'd be much appreciated.
And just ask them for testimonies as far as like BPD.
Not just the BPD. I got to go head to head with the entire state of Colorado. There's a few people who are out of state, but they've got a lot of evidence. And then that USB stick that you have, that doesn't have everything on it, but it's got quite a bit. It shows a lot of the stuff that I went through before I had access to the video footage from Chapel. Like, those officers they went out of their way not to do their jobs. And then they used mentally ill as an excuse. Like that Officer Anderson. But what Graham said, I've got that video. Graham told him, you know, I just needed somebody to talk to. Basically made it sound like I was crazy, you know, by the way that the officers read it, you know. Graham told him that I got autism and that I just needed to talk to somebody, and I didn't. What Ted Bollinger was doing on his daughter's account was immoral and wrong. And those people wouldn't leave me alone. Rabbit didn't give a shit. Matter of fact, he told me I was a bitch. I'm like, fuck you, Rabbit. Fuck you. I'm standing up for our rights while you're watching me take it. Who's the bitch here? You're supposed to be family. My mom, she didn't shed a tear. Matter of fact, I might have been the only person at my grandma's funeral who shed a tear. Graham waited in his truck for a half of an hour while I finished burying my grandma properly because everybody else left. I'm starting to write the story so that people know what happened, but like there's a lot of people that Miss Peaches, nearly everybody who was a piece of shit to me was threatened. I mean, Candace, when she fucking was wigging out, she had people sending her pictures of her living room. People were posting up the because there were some pictures in the background in one of my videos. So they were posting up her old living room with those pictures on the wall. Intimidating the fuck out of her. And then what the cops did intimidated her further. A lot of the other people, you know, there's basically two groups of people on my Facebook that were trying to help. Although most of the people that offered to help were somehow magically every time they offered to help, they were either blocked on Facebook or they had everything erased. And and I'd like to believe that, you know, the fact is my account was hacked, and they get to do whatever they want. They get to decide who I can be friends with and who I can't. So, like, the fact that it was a police agency that got a hold of it, and then the fact that Facebook, one of the bands that I was on, they sent me an apology because I'd been attacked by hackers, but those hackers didn't go away. I had a lot of people who had their Facebook accounts frozen up or destroyed. I had a lot of people who were being threatened, and there was two groups as far as the threats went. There was the people who got a hold of me and said, "Hey, Sean, these people are threatening me. They're getting really bad. I have to shut down my Facebook." Or the ones who were like, "All right, dude, Sean, fuck you," which tells me they were threatened as well and just laid off. I don't get it. Like, I need the cops to leave me alone. I need the Bollingers to leave me alone. I need to be allowed to go somewhere that I can actually see people that I care about, and it's unfortunate that that's pretty much just Colorado. So I gotta get them to leave me alone so that I can go get my disability money and be able to have an income again and move somewhere where I might be able to move my friends in with me. Do what?
I'm at McDonald's.
Alright. The worst part is, like, Veronica's not a bad person. Candace isn't a bad person. Miss Jerry's not a bad person. But they also made zero effort to understand. They just wanted to treat me like shit. All of them have the same ideas in their head about how a male is supposed to be. I'm not much of a dude. I'm not. I act a lot more like a woman. But that's not acceptable for a man to act that way. It is acceptable for a woman. Our society is sexist as all hell.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of sexism going on, and it comes from both ends.
It does. And how much of it people get is really dependent on how good looking they are. A lot comes down to what you look like. And if it doesn't come down to your looks, it comes down to your money.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Is there a way I could call you tomorrow?
Yeah.
Good. I don't get tired very often, but I'm getting pretty tired now.
Okay. Well, just so you know, you can call me anytime. I'm not saying I'm going to answer anytime, but anytime that you need to, you can give me a call. And
Yes,
even if I
ma'am.
don't answer, I can still get back to you as soon as I can.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna try to get a hold of a lawyer tomorrow. If he's willing to take my case, then I'll have him get a hold of you.
Alright.
Alright. I love you, Peaches. Be safe.
I love you, Sean. You be safe too, and you have a good night.
Yes, ma'am. Goodbye.
Bye.